Hi friends, and welcome to the very first video on my channel. I'm so glad you're here. My little corner of the internet is all about journaling, self-care, and exploring cozy, slower living, especially through the lens of ADHD, ASD, and neurodiversity. I've always found that journaling gives me space to breathe, to process my thoughts, and to create something that feels just for me. It's become such an important part of my mental health, and I really wanted to share that with you. So the spread that I'm setting up for here was inspired by the day that I'd had, basically. So I'd had a pretty stressful day. We had a hospital appointment for my 9-year-old, and this has been something of an issue going on since he was 2. So it was an important appointment. We got there, and they said it had been cancelled yet again. I was frustrated, but tried to remain calm and respectful. And I was so grateful when they said that if we could just hang around an hour or two, we could be seen at the end of clinic and we could actually see someone. So I took my 9-year-old for a breakfast in the hospital cafe, which he absolutely loved. And they called us within about half an hour and said that the consultant was ready to see us. So in we went, and we received really fantastic news. Something we were really concerned about since he was 2 was better, had improved. So that was really great. He still needs to have some tests for sleep apnea, but compared to what we were thinking before, that felt like a breeze. Not that I'm saying sleep apnea is a breeze, but you know what I mean. So yeah, it was inspired by that. So as you can see here, I grabbed my distress inks. I've laid down some washi tape. I'm going straight in with the felt tip pens, the brush pens. Now my lettering is not great. As much as I try and as much as I practice, it's not great, but I just wanted to create something just to remind myself when I look back about how amazing the day had felt. Because we can all have those days where things really do get on top of us, especially if you kind of, living life with neurodiversity. Maybe you have ADHD or ASD or both. Um, things can get really overwhelming really quickly. So I always try to be honest in my journaling. If it's been a bad day, I'll write about the bad day, but also I really try to acknowledge when something amazing has happened, and that day just felt really amazing. I walked out of that hospital and I was just so happy and so relieved, and I wanted to remember that. And I am the kind of person who likes to go back through my journals and just have a read of what was happening on that day or that year. So, yeah, that was the inspiration behind the spread. So, I recently placed an order with a company. What are they called now? I think they're called Art from the Heart. As you can see on the little flyer there, I'm sure they're called Art from the Heart, which is why they sent me that flyer. And they sent that flyer with my order, and I thought, this is going straight in the junk journaling box, because I will definitely cut that out and use that somewhere within my journal. And it just felt like such a bright, sunny, and happy day that I'm like, okay, we're going to use that. So that was kind of my starting point for this spread, really, was the colours, the purples, the greens, the lilacs. And that kind of led on to me then deciding to use a purple pen, the purple, pink, and orange washi tape, and then pick my distress inks as well, in pinks and purples and blues. So just sticking that down there, just plonking it on the page. When I start journaling, every single spread, I always start and I think, oh, this one's not going to be very good. And then I have to kind of stop myself and remind myself that it doesn't matter. As long as I'm enjoying this process and I'm taking this time just for me to do something that helps calm my nervous system, helps kind of almost re-regulate myself and fill my cup back up. That's kind of the best way I can describe it. It energizes me, it really does. And I suppose that's why I do it. When I first started journaling back in about 2013, I think it was, I always used to watch YouTube videos back then, and was Instagram, I think, back then. I think it was, yeah. I used to watch videos of people journaling, and I just used to love how much they had around them, all the different kind of inks and pens and sticker books and washi tapes and things like that. And I used to grab all my supplies and just lay them out on the bed. I tend to do most of my journaling on my bed. Obviously, for this video, I was sat at my desk just so I could set my camera up. Um, but yeah, I used to grab everything, and then I used to just find myself so overwhelmed that I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what kind of theme I was going for. And kind of over the years, I find the best process for me when it comes to journaling is I decide on what my page is going to say or what I want it to kind of reflect, maybe about my day or about a prompt I've seen online or something like that. And I'll start with a word. And I've just recently started adding that word as kind of like the header of the page, kind of incorporating it in there somewhere. And then depending on, I don't know, is this just an ASD/ADHD thing? But do words have colours for you? Myself and my daughter were having this conversation about how words can have colours, days of the weeks can have colours, things like that. But amazing to me just felt very purple, very vibrant, very confident, just very purple. So I started there. And then from there, I'll kind of move on and look for purple or complementary colour washi tapes, and then inks, and kind of have a look through my stencils, and then stickers as well, and images that I want to add. So I've kind of very slowly over the years find myself having more kind of tied together journal spreads. So not overly thought out, but just giving myself a starting point is really, really helpful for me, I find. And I just recently placed an order back in September for my 2026 Hobonichi planner. So I ordered a cousin and a weeks for next year, and they sent me that little leaflet. And this little robot is so adorable. I so wish I'd have bought him or her. I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe it is a her. I can see a bow there actually. But yeah, just so cute. And it just reminded me of kind of, being strong and things like that. And so I wanted to incorporate it into this design somewhere. And my brain has just taken me off on this tangent about how I totally need to tell you about this film that my son made me watch. I forgot what it's called, but it's a little robot and it lands in the wild. It's called Wild Robot. There you go. The brain got there in the end. Lovely film, fantastic film. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, it reminded me of that as well. How it develops kind of empathy and emotions and love and connections. So little robot guys going in there too. So pink pen. I'm just going around the outside of this. You can't really see it much on camera, but I like my little dashed lines. I think it just adds a little bit of interest to the pages. And I've recently started using lighter coloured felt tip pens or inks or even highlighters. I find they're really good for this. And just kind of lightly colouring in the page so I don't have as much white space. I really like that kind of full look. I don't know, it's just me maybe. Maybe it's a phase I'm going through. I do tend to go through different phases. I find myself becoming a little bit obsessed with pens or washi tapes or stickers. And then it fizzles out and I move on to something else. Again, I'm sure that's very much an ADHD thing, perhaps. I don't know. Let me know your experiences in the comments, maybe. So, yeah, just doing it super quick, not trying to be too perfect, trying to let go of that perfection and trying to make everything perfect, and telling myself if something goes wrong, if I kind of go over a line or if it bleeds through, it's fine. That's a tomorrow problem. We can sort that out tomorrow. We can put a page background down or something. So yeah, just doing that there. And I just want to say very quickly before I forget that the stenciling that I did here, I actually got the stencils off Amazon. I think I got like a pack of 1,000,000. Well, no, probably a pack of like 10 for just a few pounds. And it's the first time I've done any stenciling in quite a while. And I really, really loved the effect with the distress inks. They dry really quick. They don't smudge. They're not as messy. And I really loved it. So I'm going to do a little bit of writing now. I haven't left myself much room, but that's fine. I will remember exactly what the amazing means when I look back on it. So please enjoy some music. I thought I'd give you a little break from my talking, but I'm back because we're going to pick some stickers. So, luckily, I just opened the book and found a sticker straight away that said yes. And it spoke to me, so in it goes. I try not to overthink it too much. Sometimes, I mean, I am guilty of looking back over previous journal spreads that I've created, and I've had a little look at my sticker selection for that particular spread and kind of wondered, what were you thinking? Why did you choose that sticker? But I just have to trust that in the moment it made sense. And I think that probably really accurately describes my life. In the moment, it made complete sense. Right now, I haven't a clue why I did that. But yeah, just putting some stickers in. I really love these sticker books as well. Again, another find on Amazon. You get kind of a million stickers for about £9.99 if you're in the UK, which I suppose is about $13, $14 in the US maybe. So just searching for stickers just to finish it off and add a few little touches. So I'll be sharing lots of ideas, tips, and encouragement in my videos that are going to be coming up. So I hope you'll come back and join me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And yeah, let me know what you'd like to see in the comments below. Thank you.